How are you?
I'm good. Key, how are you doing?
Not too bad. We're going to start off by you telling everyone what you do and what you're about.
Yeah. So my name is Bailey Lewis. I'm the founder of Words First Content Strategy. Words First is for professional communicators who want to advance their careers through digital content strategy upskilling. And really, the whole point is more human, more intentional, more compassionate digital content in a world of kind of robotic, chaoticness. And so that's what we're all about.
Yes. And I met you through TikTok, which is, you were like, I kept seeing all your posts and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so good. And she has such great content. I want to be her friend. And then you said you wanted to be my friend. I was like, friends. and
Yes, you were my first TikTok friend.
And story, here we go. We're here now on the Creative Corner and talking about what you do. So we're going to get into the first question. The first question is discuss your journey to becoming a digital and team communicator, coach, and trainer.
Yes. So within Words First, it's about education, upskilling, advancement. So that's coaching, courses, etc. And the way I got to that point is that I've been a digital content strategist for over a decade. And I was working with interdisciplinary teams on end-to-end projects, discovery, research through launch. And I had built a content strategy team at my previous position. And what I noticed that our clients struggled with most was we would hand them this beautiful product, this beautiful site, app, digital experience or space. And then because they weren't closely it was a collaborative process, but because they weren't in close collaboration with us while creating it, and because they weren't digital content strategists themselves, they really struggled to maintain the work that we'd done and even the work that we'd done together. And so I set off to say, okay, well, what if there was someone who could help you understand digital content strategy on your internal team or for your professional development? And then you, professional communicator out in the world, you would understand then how to evolve, maintain, and really keep that human experience in your digital spaces. And so that was really important to me. And I set off to say, okay, I can be that person for these internal folks and these internal teams.
Awesome. See, that is where great strategy comes into play. Getting in contact with a person like you to help mentor and teach and coach people just how to work things, because a lot of people don't understand that digital strategy is literally a strategy. And what I've learned is you have to have intention when you come online.
Yeah,
And I'm a little spontaneous sometimes,
we
but
all are.
I've learned that a lot of my strategic, um, I would say my strategic posts, I get a lot of views. So for you guys out there, strategy.
Yes, yes. And strategy and creativity go hand in hand. Just because you're being strategic does not mean you're not being creative. In fact, that's the dog sneezing in the background. He's agreeing. In fact, when you give yourself a strategy to follow, it allows that your creativity to shine through in more of the details.
Yes. So what expired um words first?
So it was really at the point where I started, it was really that need that I saw for those professional communicators and teams to have their own content strategy knowledge and not just have it brought in for a project given to them and then it goes away and they're supposed to carry it. The Words First name is named after my process that I have honed over my career, because another thing that happens in the creative portion of content planning and then the creation of it itself, so often teams will start with design, and that makes sense. Everybody wants to see the visuals. That's the exciting part. But the problem with it is that no one has considered the message, no one has considered the words. how they will be presented, not only what they are, but how will they be presented, how will they be understood, how will someone move through them, the information that they came for in the first place. And so when teams or organizations, or when you create a digital space starting with design, it necessarily means that once you have this beautiful shell of a design, you have to go and try to cram the words back in wherever they will fit. And that is painful for everyone, including your audience.
Yes.
So words first means from the very beginning, we're going to be thinking about the words in our digital decision making from very like day one, the structure of the space, the planning of the content, of the functionality of the design. We're considering how messages are being conveyed because we are paying attention to words early on, and that comes from me being a long time words person. A long time words person. I was about ready to try to list all the ways, but I got my degrees in English and then another one in English. Couldn't get enough of it apparently. And it just came from me saying words are everything in human communication, including digitally, and yet we don't give them the time of day online very often.
Yeah, exactly. So explain your unique approach in putting the words and the people that you're meeting to reach the first and the key areas in decision making.
Right. So it does all begin with the people, because words, you can talk to yourself, and I do often, but
Yeah.
mostly we use words to communicate with each other. And so it's all about the people you're communicating to as well. Words first for people first. And that part of that is really starting with research, starting with understanding your audience. A lot of organizations and communicators, they're asked to start with basic assumptions about audience members, but assumptions are usually have a kernel of truth, and then the rest of it doesn't really match reality. And so if you just talk to, once again, using your words to talk to your audience members,
Yes.
understand how they're using your space, how they're trying to work through it, how they're understanding your information, their level of understanding about your organization or your project, or what you're trying to say, starting with the people allows you to understand what words will make sense to them, how they should be presented. And then from the very early stages, as early as site structure, as early as starting to determine how pages are coming together, taking what you learned from the people who will be using and navigating your words and saying, this is how it's all going to come together, because we know how we need to communicate to this group of people, and we know what information and words they need to receive in order to act and understand what we're trying to communicate to them.
Yes. And that's where word first comes in handy because without having the words first, um, you basically cannot connect with your audience. And for me, um, it's getting the thought and conveying it.
Mm.
So sometimes if you're not off the head, like sometimes I can be up off the head, but a lot of times I like to write down in steps and go over it until it's like, okay, this is how I want it to come out. This is how I need to do. And sometimes I stumble because your brain is always kind of, oh, you're doing it wrong. Maybe you're not being clear. Make sure the whole point is just to write it down, memorize it as best as possible, and speak it.
Yes. And understanding, the more you understand your audience and the more you interact with them.
Yes.
And it sounds big and scary to do that, but it's not. A few representative people, who are in your audience, that friends and family count, as long as they are in your audience, talking to them and understanding where they're coming from. The more you do that, the more you can naturally create digital content, whether that's written, spoken word, etc., that answers what they're looking for, talks to them on their level, because now you kind of have them in the back of your brain too, instead of just you.
Yes. So, what are some tips and advice you can give to a struggling person with their content?
Yes. So one of my best tips for my clients and those who are creating content, those who have to create a lot of content, those who are creating content and they, of course, want it to be high quality, they want it to reach other human beings. And this sounds counterintuitive to some people at first, but trust me, limiting the amount of stuff you're doing. So limiting and this is very difficult. I struggle with this too. Limiting not only the amount of channels you're on and the amount of content you're putting out in favor of quality, but also you might be familiar with on social media. This social media has made this very popular. When you see on TikTok or Instagram or elsewhere a series where someone does the same type of content, and then they have a series where it's the same format, but they're doing a different thing every
Different
time.
thing. Yeah.
Yes, you can take that right into your written content. I strongly recommend it. You can take that right into all of your content, and not having so many variations of content. One, to create, to strategize, to plan, but also for your audience members to then understand, know what it is that you're trying to say, know what it's about. The more consistency you have and the fewer variations in your content you have, the more your audience knows how to interact with you. Before they even see your video, they see your face and they know what it's about to be about, or they get to your site or they see something branded from your organization and they know what it's going to be about if you have that kind of streamlined consistency.
Yes. And I seem to gravitate more towards series.
Mm-hmm.
I love series. A person start off with a series and the content is great, and it's like, okay, where's part 2? Where's part 3? Where's part 4? It kind of draws you in, and it may honestly only be maybe a page full of actual written stuff, but they've taken that and they've broken it down and they've rinsed and recycled it multiple times to keep their audience engaged with what they're doing.
Right. And it's always the same structure. So you don't go back the same structure or format. So you don't go back to the drawing board on that, which is very time consuming and takes a lot of creative power.
Yes.
And it takes a lot of brain power for your audience to understand new series or new formats as well. So the more you use something they're familiar seeing from you, the more they already understand how to interact with you. It's like your favorite song, your favorite artist. If all of a sudden, when they switch genres or they do something totally out of left field, you might enjoy it and you might not. It's
Yes.
really or your favorite TV show, you always expect something to be like, especially reality TV shows. You always expect it to go a certain way, and if they ever change the format, you can lose interest because that's not what you were expecting. You thought you knew how this was going to go.
Yes. And just for like everyone out there, I struggle with that too. Um, Not so much with Obsidian people because I know what my content is for that, but with this new venture of breaking off and making Harper Assist and just trying to find um, where my pocket of people will be and finding what conveys with well over there. And I just made a new TikTok page for Harper's Assist. It has like 6 posts on it, but I'm actually getting a little bit of traffic. So it's given me a little bit of, okay, I can try to analyze this. So the more I do, and my whole thing is consistency. I need to do consistency so I'm able to see what conveys with my audience and how it conveys with them, and rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat.
Right. Yes, you're right. It's very hard to determine what's working and what's not if you aren't repeating, if you're not being consistent with the format, with the type of content you're putting out. It's much easier to see what's working and what's not, what's resonating, what's not, when you try something and you stick to it for a while.
Yes. So, what are some success stories that you've had from doing Words First?
Yeah. So one thing I love and have loved about Words First is to see my clients, and then there's a membership as well, so members in the membership apply content strategy to their work and to see the real difference it can make. And then also one of my favorite successes isn't even necessarily tied to a project. It's when people start to use content strategy in their everyday lives.
Yeah.
Someone told me that a member of mine she was having a conversation with her husband about what they should do for the weekend. And they had very different ideas about what they should do. And she was getting frustrated with him because she felt like he wasn't listening to her. And she said, Bailey, I took words first, content strategy, tactics. I said, okay, let me try to understand where he's coming from. And let me try to, she was implementing some things that she learned in one of our courses. Let me try to then take some of the principles from that course and communicate to him based on what I know will make sense and resonate with him. It's like, and we figured it out. We figured out what we were gonna do, and I got part of my way. So
And that's so funny because it literally went from something that could be done for business to everyday life.
yes, I joke, but it's not really a joke that one of these days we'll be having courses and discussions and presentations and all of that about content strategy for life. How do you content strategize your life?
Hey, that's a good one.
But it's about understanding other people and helping them to understand you. So
Yes, and that keeps the human side of content creation.
mhm,
I love
absolutely.
AI. AI is awesome, but it loses its humanality on it. And so you need that kind of touch of life to it. A computer is a computer. A human is a human. It can
Yes.
emulate really well, but there's no connection, and you need that connection. So, and for our last question of the night, how will your work inspire others?
Yes. So what I have noticed, and I also really enjoy, is that understanding digital content strategy, when someone works with me or they become part of the membership, there's then a confidence that comes with being able to make decisions about digital content. Because so many of us, professional communicators included, we're very good at communicating, but the screen is not a very good human medium.
Yes.
And a lot gets lost on a screen. We do not capital R read on a screen the way we would if we picked up a magazine or something. There's just a lot of brain science going on. So when people work with me and they start to understand kind of what's going on in their audience's minds and how these pieces and parts can come together, all of a sudden these questions that they had about how to create their digital content that seemed kind of like murky, kind of throw darts at a wall and see what happens, risky even, all of a sudden there's confidence about making those decisions and progressing forward more efficiently and more easily without as much hair tearing out and roundabout circular conversations with your team or with your client. And so the confidence and the kind of ease with which it allows people to make those decisions that actually do connect with their audience members and actually do make their work more joyful and easier, along with what we really need is more human intentional content online. And I
Yes.
think all of that's kind of wrapped up together too. The
Yes.
more you make confident decisions about it and human decisions about it, the more human intentional content we will have. And with the rise of AI writing content, it's only becoming more important by the day. So that's really my vision and what I hope people will take away when they do work with me or they see some of my own content out in the world.
Yes. They're not taking our jobs. They're not taking our jobs. It's
Mhm.
making it easier for us to do our work, but it still needs that creativity. It and if you allow it to take over your jobs, that's because you've given up. You have to use your brain power. You have to. If you don't use it, you lose it. That's that's the scary thing about AI, from a lot of different um, people that I've talked to. I just did a creative corner 2 weeks ago, and her work is ground up, so she's like a marketing brand. So she helps market brands and shows them how to market, and she takes the pictures, and she has a whole company and network of people that help her run her business. And she loves AI because AI for her gives her enough time to do all the other things she needs
Yeah.
to do, but
Yes.
she still has an editor come in and put the touch of her brand, her business, and that humanality of it all. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not against AI. I'm kind of for it, but with caution.
Yes, I have a presentation. I also speak at events and conferences, and I have a presentation called It's new since last December, and you're going to see why. Human to human communications in a world of robots.
Yes.
The world of robots is here. So, and it's only going to increase. So we can use the robots to make our human experience more human, or we can use the robots to make it less human. And that is up to us. And it's our, for as professional communicators, if you're a professional communicator, that's your responsibility.
Yes.
Is to ensure that the human experience is enhanced by AI if you're going to use it, and not diminished by it.
Yes.
And that whole presentation is about all the ways to do that through, of course, digital content strategy.
Well, list what you're offering now. I know that you got some things in the work. Let's tell my audience what you have going on.
Yeah. Yes. So Words First offers coaching experiences. That's either ongoing coaching for big, hairy, scary projects or undertakings where you just want additional expertise and support and guidance. One-off experiences, so a VIP content day where we just make an action plan and you proceed with that. Like I said, with confidence, you have the answers now. You can look smart in front of your boss and your team and all of your people you want to look smart in front of. And also the Words First is a membership, the Words First Communicators membership. That's where people can go to advance their skills, upskill their digital content strategy practice, and do it in conjunction with other professional communicators. And it's a course-based membership, so it's a learning membership with courses and classes and content. And then the courses within that membership are available also just individually if you'd rather learn. They're all self-paced, but if you'd rather learn outside the membership as well.
Yes. And I would say you guys go out there and subscribe to her newsletter. It is a ton of great information. It has tons of really good information that you can use right away. So I'd like to thank you for taking your time to talk to us, and we'll see you later.
All right. Thank you so much. This was fun.
See you later. Everything will be, all the things that we've talked about and all her info will be down in the description box. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.